Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to have you with us. I really appreciate you coming out on a cold, dark November night, but it's nice and warm in here. We've got wonderful music for you. We expect to hear lots of singing to go with lots of playing. When we're done, I'd like to remind you that there are refreshments in Day Fellowship Hall. A free will offering will go to the East Wellington Community Services Food Bank. And there are also lots of opportunities for bargains left from this morning's Christmas market. So please linger afterwards, socialize, make some donations, spend some money. But for now, I'd like to introduce the ensemble. We have Chris Barlow on cello. If you remember, many years he was on violin, so that cello is. Chris Arbuckle on viola, Heather Blair on French horn, Liz Guthrie on clarinet, and me on flute. So we really enjoy having you with us. We're going to start with "O Come All Ye Faithful." Next we have Deck the Halls.
Again.
mentioned, every year we have a little time where we, share jokes or we share memories. So this year, I'd like to just thinking while you're singing of a favorite Christmas memory involving a child. What did your kids or you as a child do that was especially memorable on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve? So we've got the first Noel. So we've had a minute to think about Christmas memories involving children. I'll start first just to get the ball rolling and give everybody a minute to break and Heather a chance to empty out her French wine. The joys of being a wind player. I have a daughter, and she's the only granddaughter. All the rest, my sisters all had boys. So you can imagine when they were all really little, we're all getting together at Nana and Grandma's house. The boys are just ripping through the presents and throwing them this way and that. And Sarah liked to open things one at a time, sit and play with it for a while, and then open the next one. So it was just hilarious because these little boys are running around and things are flying everywhere, and there she is just sitting in the middle of it, calmly opening things out and playing with it and whatever. And then of course they're all done and off running around doing the next thing and heading outside. She's still working away, playing with it, opening the next thing, playing with it. So it was cute. Anyway, so any volunteers to share? I'm going to get Heather to walk around with the mic. Thank you, Heather. You knew exactly what I needed.
This isn't really my memory, this is Chris's memory, and you tweaked it, Bob. So his story is that his brother, he has two brothers, but this is when his little brother was born young, I think. And the ripping of presents occurred to the point at which Chris thought he didn't have any presents. Because his brother, tell the rest of the story.
Well, I was late getting up. I'm normally an early morning person, but whatever. So I went in to where the Christmas tree and the presents were, and I walked up to my brother's empty boxes. And I went through the empty boxes and said, Santa Claus hasn't brought me any.
Dear.
I was here all afternoon and I walked through the Bay Hall at one point and saw this really nice tray of cookies with a pile of peanut butter balls in the middle. And it reminded me of the Christmas open house that my great aunt would have every year. And she'd have all kinds of hors d'oeuvres like you didn't eat before you went there because there was a full meal just out of snacks. And then she'd have trays with cookies, like every Christmas cookie you could want, and peanut butter balls. But there was always a very limited number of peanut butter balls because if you've made them, you know they're a lot of work. And so that was everyone's favorite, and it was always a big thing to make sure you would get a peanut butter ball. So when we were kids, we would sneak up from the basement we were all playing and take a peanut butter ball off the tray and then rearrange the cookies so no one knew that we got into the cookies before we got into the rest of the food.
Of course, you knew the secret. The peanut butter balls were in the freezer in the basement.
My mom was one of 8, so growing up in the 50s probably, and she really liked farm animals, so for one of her Christmases she got a farm, but one of her brothers also got a train set. So on Christmas morning her dad cut a hole in the barn so the train could go through the barn. She was not very impressed, so on my first Christmas I got a farm set.
I probably shared this before, but our son Adam was born on Christmas Eve, whenever 1989 was. And I know that I remember for sure the Leafs had lost that night. It was probably to Montreal, and that's what would have put me into labor.
So when I was pregnant for my first son, John, he was due in early January, but he decided to come 3 weeks early on December 18th. And he had to be in an incubator because he couldn't manage his temperature. And this, my father and I were both last minute shoppers, so we hadn't done any shopping because I had weeks to go. There was no reason for it. And so I got discharged out of the hospital with John on Christmas Eve. And I got home thinking, well, we're not going to have Christmas this year because I didn't do anything. And my mom and dad had gone out and got a Snoopy tree. You know the Snoopy tree? It's like a branch. And it was like a stick with a few branches. And they decorated it and had bought Christmas presents. So we had Christmas that year.
So the ensemble has worked on a couple of pieces just for you to relax and enjoy and listen to. So one of them is Carol of the Bells.
Coventry Carol. Whenever we're picking what carols to sing, I mean, there's some that come up every year, gotta have them. But we always ask each person in the ensemble, you know, what's your favorite, what one do you want? And that's the one Chris Barlow always asks for. So next we have Good Christian Friends Rejoice.
Jesus Christ is born today.
very fortunate in having Heather Blair in the group because she is very good at arranging music. When you look at the instruments that are up here, this is not a standard grouping. Generally, if you go to a concert, you're going to have a string quartet or you're going to have a wind quartet or quintet. So this combination of strings and winds is pretty unusual, which means we're always finding things and they don't really work for us. And she rewrites them for us. So this is one of her arrangements. He's
Oh
So we're just going to take a little break for a minute. Any more memories involving children? When Jill was talking about the train set and the farm set, I remember my husband setting up, doing the classic thing, you know, that you only saw in the movies and on TV, set up the train set Christmas Eve in a circle around the tree so that when Sarah got in the morning, there it was chugging around and it had a little smoke coming out of it. And it was so exciting for her, but I think it was just as exciting for him.
So this was a Christmas Eve long ago when my son was 2 and my daughters were about 4 months, and my sister and brother-in-law were with us. They had 3 children about the same age. A busy time for all of us. Christmas Eve, we got through all that. We're playing with the kids, talking about Christmas Day, Jesus' birthday. My little Michael says, "We need chocolate cake." So I'm telling you, it was 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I got the cake cool enough that I could put the icing on and write "Happy Birthday, Jesus."
What a good mom. We lived on a farm growing up, and my mom had all kinds of cousins that lived close together. And so she started having a party. I'm sure it was when Rick and I were little, because we moved to the farm when I was about 3. And so these cousins of all different generations would come, and the parents would know it was the time that they could go off Christmas shopping. They had to have one gift there, because Santa always came, but we would have this gathering, and you'd go tobogganing, and you'd always have chili. Now, I wouldn't eat this chili for anything now, but it was baked beans, canned spaghetti, and hamburger all mixed together, and that was our chili, and lots of goodies and crafts and good fun. So lots of fine memories, and they went to have it until our girls were little. So.
We had better chili though.
Yeah, her younger sister taught her to make chili after.
When I was about 6 or 7, I still was persuaded to believe in Santa Claus. So, anyway, I was a very inquisitive child, and one room in our house was never used. It was referred to as the box room. Well, it was just for storage. And there was an old crib in there. So one day I was kind of rooting around, and I discovered in this old crib, which was covered in a sheet, a lot of wrapped parcels. So, of course, being me, I went and spoke to my parents. I said, now I'm going to be careful to say, I'll leave you to imagine the rest of the story.
I was going to tell one like that too, and then I realized that maybe another day.
Well, I've told this story a few times, so you've probably heard it before, but me and my next door neighbour, Mickey Huff, we used to go carol singing, and we'd only do 3 nights leading up to Christmas Eve, and I would take my violin and we would sing "Hark the Herald Angels Sing" at every house. And we loved terrace streets because they were much easier, especially when the doors are close together, because we knock on both doors at the same time. And if somebody came out and they stood there expecting more song, we would skip to verse 3, "Hail the heaven-born Prince of Peace." And we would always avoid verse 2, which has the line, "Offspring from a virgin's womb." We were not going to sing that. So yeah, that was our carol singing. I must have played and sung "Hark the Herald" a lot of times.
So Christy made me think we take our grandsons and my nephew and sometimes my niece out caroling, and Max is 15 now, so you've got to make it more creative as we go along. And about 4 or 5 years ago, the boys started saying, they'd say Happy Halloween about a dozen times, or trick or treat. And then they'd start Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever holiday came, Happy Easter, and they've got people laughing all down the street. And they decided next year that they would sing Christmas carols when they go up for Halloween.
It's really funny what you remember. I am pretty sure my mother had a deal with Santa Claus that instead of having the stockings down in the living room on the fireplace, the stockings arrived at the foot of our bed while we were sleeping. So Mom had a deal with Santa Claus because that meant we stayed in bed longer going through our stockings. So I'm pretty sure she had me with Santa on that one. And I'll let you guess what the title of this next song is. You don't have to sing, you just have to listen. Sorry, I can't see the screen. excellent, and I really appreciate how good it is. This is my favorite, that's why we have to do it every year, Silent Night. applause for the singers.